started today. Thank you so much for all of you being here. It makes me really excited that all of you are interested in hearing about this. So just showing you a picture of my team to get started.
Go closer, however you do it.
The main language in Malawi is Chichewa, so thank you very much to all of you. Como Kwamiri. You were very, very generous in all your prayers and donations, and that really truly did make this trip possible for me, so I really thank you a lot. So starting off, I just hope today I can speak in a really dignified way about the communities we worked with. I think in America we get a really small narrative of people in Africa and of African cultures, which I think there's a really big danger in that because it denies a lot of recognition for their strengths and complexity as a people. So hopefully I can speak in a way that helps you learn about them and learn about my experience. So in getting ready, we had 3 different organizations that kind of collaborated for this project, and 3 amazing women that I kind of have for representing each. Christine Wegner is one of my professors at WLC, where I'm studying to be an elementary education teacher. She actually lived in Malawi for 8 years, about 20 years ago now. She was a preschool director and a playgroup director. Her husband was a missionary pastor, so once she heard about this project, she kind of clung on to it because that's a place that's really near and dear to her heart. And it wasn't gaining a lot of traction at first, and so she started recommending it to her students and as in classes. That's how I heard about the trip. She is one of the people that came with us to do our work. Krista Potres and Alicia Courtwright were other people involved that did a lot of planning behind the scenes. They ran our online meetings that we had leading up to our trip. So they worked on the itinerary, the insurance, all the nitty-gritty details to get us ready, and talked us through our training program that we did. I did 3 online classes through Canvas, just on different Christian health ministry topics. So yeah, that's how we got ready for the trip, and these people were really on top of things, so it made a really smooth travel process and itinerary for the trip. I'll bring this picture back to kind of introduce our team that was doing the work. Everyone in the Kingdom Workers shirts is from WLC. 3 of my classmates came along, Brielle, and then Willa and Ariana, and then Mrs. Wegner is over there. And then we had 3 Kingdom Workers staff that live in Malawi. They are Malawian. We had Hamilton, Suten, and Kingsley, and they were just the best. We really enjoyed working with them. We did everything with them on the trip. We stayed in the hotels, went to restaurants, they drove us around, they bought us food, and they were just so fun to be around. They all brought something different to the table. Kingsley was really funny. He could make anyone laugh, energize a room. Suten was very sweet and personable, and Hamilton has the brains of a genius. So with the 3 of them, it was a really great experience. So something I learned about in my training was the different variations of mission work that I really wasn't aware of before, but it can really vary in your overall goal and the amount of participants you have from the people you're working with. So our goal for this trip was to be in this do with category. With mission work, you can be doing something to a group of people, something for, or just responding to. Our goal was to be right here and cooperating and co-leading with some of these communities. It was a really clear, defined thing that we wanted to be facilitators, that we were going to be learning together with these people and not telling them what to do with their villages, but just kind of brainstorming together to move towards some more development. So I just put this as well to kind of give an image of different types of mission work as well. It can be all the way from relief work, which is more like emergency aid, more handouts in terms of like war and natural disaster. So we weren't doing anything sort of like that. Rehabilitation is taking a community back to a prior state it had been in. And then development is taking a community and making structural changes that are aimed toward more self-sufficiency. So that's what we were doing, is working through development and things that can hopefully last a long time. So, why were we here? Our overall mission was to reach parents and families with children who have disabilities, a whole wide range of disabilities, and to specifically address their nutritional needs, which has just a lot of complications along with it. A lot of these children have trouble eating with their disability, whether that's swallowing or having mobility issues. A lot of families have trouble with money and work opportunities. There's a large stigma around disability there, and it's hard for guardians and mothers to get work because people will deny them of opportunities because they see you have a child with a disability, you need to take care of them, you're not going to be fully available and ready to do this work for me, so they'll just get easily dismissed, which is really unfortunate. Food storage and preservation is a difficult thing sometimes, in terms of, do we have enough until our next harvest season, or trying to sell at the right price at the right time, or having the right kind of food that's able for your child to eat if they have certain needs. So there's just a lot of issues here with their nutrition, getting incomplete meals, unbalanced diets. In one of the communities, there were a lot of single mothers, not too far from my age, probably some my age. And it's just really unfortunate what can happen sometimes because of this stigma, because a lot of their husbands have left or don't care for them or abandoned them because they had a child with a disability, and they say, I don't want a child like that, I'm not going to care for them or use my hard work for that child. So it's really a time where these communities need to come together and really look after each other. So that's why I felt so passionately for this work, because these people really need to be empowered and heard and given a voice, so we can learn from each other and that they can grow together. So we really focused on trying to use the assets that they already have in their communities so that they can be self-sufficient and grow together without all this other outside help. So really focused on like a strength-based learning. I thought it'd be important to include a map, since I didn't know where Malawi was before this trip. I had heard very little about it. It's in Southeast Africa. It's a really long, skinny country right along Lake Malawi, which is very beautiful. There's three main sections of the country. We were mostly in central and southern. We flew into Lilongwe, which is the capital, and then the two villages we worked in were in Salima, which is right over there. And then the Kingdom Worker office that is in Malawi is down in Blantyre, down here. So I just thought that'd be a good frame of reference since Malawi is not a very touristy country. All right, so the activities that we were doing were called PLAs, which are participatory learning activities. So these people were fully invited. It was their entire choice to be there and to collaborate on this. They're part of congregations that they have down there. So the two villages we were working in were Kalambe and Chitala. This church over here in Chitala village was actually funded by the Wells, and it's a really beautiful church. It's got all these like square bricks in the side with openings, so it's like natural AC when the wind comes by. But it's a really beautiful church, so it was really nice to see that in their village, that the Wells had been able to do that for them. In Kalambe, this group had a lot of really boldly spoken people, a lot of leadership, which was amazing. And then Chitala was a lot of single mothers, as I had said before. And they were a little quiet at first, but I think having a group composed of women and that are similar in their age really put them at ease and made them very comfortable to talk with us and to collaborate. So that was a blessing that our team was constructed that way. Each day we would bring poster boards, markers, and food supplies to have lunch with them, have snacks with them, and some women would prepare food for us. So we'd do 2 activities a day and then have lunch every day. Out of respect, we ate lunch inside the church and they all ate outside, which we thought was a little bit of a bummer. We're like, oh, we want to be with you guys, but they said, no, this is respectful for you guys to be in here and we're going to eat outside. So that's just kind of an interesting thing to know. So out of our 5 activities, the first one, here's the church I mentioned and our team. The first one was called Healthy Home. So for this activity, we wanted everyone to draw out and label what a healthy home looks like to them. What kind of things do you have? What do the people look like and feel like? What kind of things do you have access to? And then afterward, we would ask, is this a reality for you? Some answered yes, some answered no. But then they were asked, do you have hope that it could be if it's not? And everyone was very hopeful that they could achieve a healthy looking home for them, which was really encouraging. One thing I noted with this activity was while Hamilton was translating for us during all these activities, he had said that people were talking about the opportunity of having a toilet. And I just thought that blew my mind because I've never thought of having a toilet as an opportunity or such a privilege. So it just really shifts your perspective on the things we have here and the things that are privileges and we don't even realize it. So our next activity that we did was a seasonal calendar. So we would draw a big circle and divide it up in 12 wedges, and each wedge represented a month of the year. And then they would write what kind of food is available each month. So different growing seasons and stuff like that. Just focusing on when foods are available and what kind of preservation techniques they've used and kind of exchanging those ideas, trying new techniques and saying, hey, that's a good idea, I haven't tried that. I'm going to try that for my family. We had done a workshop with our team before we left, and some of these activities are a struggle for us because we don't even think about growing seasons a lot of time. You can go to the grocery store and get something grown that's, I don't know, or buy something that's grown 6 months later, I don't know. It just is not something we often have to think about, is storing our food or waiting to have it at a certain time. Our problem tree, we use this model, so it's kind of like a cause and effect model. Our main topic in the middle was poor nutrition for kids with disabilities. And then the roots of the tree are the causes, and then the branches are the effects. So a lot of the problems identified was that there is a large need for a special needs school. Kids are really in need of assistive devices to aid walking, eating, things like that. They really need a variety in nutrients for both mom and child, and just overall job opportunities, play opportunities for these kids to get around their village. Our 4th activity was a community map. This really pushed their idea of, all right, let's write down what our village actually looks like, write down all the landmarks and what's here, and then let's identify what's valuable to us. What do we have? Who are the people that we can contact and utilize, and what places can we utilize more? And I think this was a really good activity to just visualize it on paper and see, wow, these things are really close, or everyone can gather at the church. So this was really interesting, seeing a lot of aha moments with this one. And then lastly, we had a solution tree. So it's kind of similar to the problem tree. the same problem, poor nutrition for kids with disabilities, and then the branches are now their solutions. Then each solution was labeled with a different symbol, marking the things we think we need the most help to do, the things we can do with some help, and the things we can do on our own. And so after these 2 days of work, it was really, really great to see so many things labeled as a lot of things we can do on our own. And so that was really great. We're gonna have a online call in about 6 months. We're hoping to see what progress has been made with these solutions that we were brainstorming here. So I'm really excited to see what has come to fruition already in these first 6 months. And then along with our activities, we did ethnography walks. So ethnography is a type of qualitative research that involves being in a natural setting and taking a lot of observation and immersing yourself in a setting to interact with the culture and learn about it in a really natural way, just kind of outside looking in. So to do this, we had walkabouts, and we just took a walk around the village, and just taking really detailed notes and a bunch of pictures, wondering who's there, what are they doing, is there anyone excluded and not visible in the community, how are people getting around, maybe looking for what assistive devices are already being used, what's available to be sold in the markets, and just gathering the overall feeling of the community. How are the people feeling on their day-to-day, and what life is like. I included this picture because on our walks, we would start about 5 to 7 people, just our team, and we collected more and more as we walked through the village. Our first walk, we had kids trailing behind us, and we'd look around and they'd laugh and run away. And we said, come walk with us, and they got closer and closer, and as they started walking with, all these kids started pouring out of their houses, and we'd have about like 40 to 50 at the end of each walk, which was really, really fun. And then I also wanted to note that for all of these activities, everyone was speaking in Chichewa, and we had our Kingdom Workers staff translating for us. So it was a lot of brain power on their part. There's a lot of Chichewa words that, or there's more words in English that they don't have in Chichewa, so they have to totally reconstruct sentences and find synonyms and work on the fly to translate in their heads. So we really appreciated them for that. So after our work, we made up a report and a slideshow to present to the Kingdom Workers staff. So we presented that at their office in Blantyre. And then we had some time after our work and in between our report to work on all of that. From here, the Kingdom Workers staff is going to continue to meet with these congregations and with those villages and work on those things. And then the Marrow Center can continue to identify those needs and connect them with resources that exist or that need to be created or that are more international as well. And as I said before, we will hopefully have a call to assess the progress that we have had so far. And then getting into my overall travel experience, this is what lunch looked like every day in the village. And this was kind of a special occasion meal too. We had ensima, which is ground maize, made into a thick paste. And we would get chickens from the market every morning and put our chickens in the back of the truck and drive to the village, and that was our lunch. So, very farm to table. But it was fun. The women let us try and stir the ensima over the pot. It was very difficult. They're very strong and good at it, and I'm not. But lunch was fun. We traveled around in these land cruisers. Our Kingdom Workers staff drove these for us, and with the fuel crisis going on, Kingsley would wait an entire day to get diesel for his trucks, and you would drive on roads and see just miles of cars lined up waiting for fuel. US dollars are really in demand, and I think at one point, like a gallon of gas was $16 in US equivalent, one of that's worse. So we were really appreciative that we didn't have to change our itinerary at all to meet those needs, but they really worked hard to get us where we needed to go and to make this happen. The roads were very, very bumpy. They're made of dirt, and in their wet seasons, the water will come and move all that dirt around, so it leaves really large craters. It kind of felt like a roller coaster when we were driving a lot of the time. A couple more things. Malawi is known as the warm heart of Africa, meaning that the people are really warm-hearted and friendly and just super welcoming, which we definitely experienced. Everyone was very, very kind to us. We got some experiences of going to the markets, trying to buy and barter. We bought chetenjes, which were appropriate to wear in the villages. It's just a big sheet of fabric. You wear it around your waist, you carry your baby in it, you carry your money in it. They're really versatile. So that was really fun. And then I thought I'd share some of my personal highlights. I really have a big heart for kids, as I'm going to be a teacher. So some of these moments were some of my favorites. This woman in the Chitala community had this young son, I think his name was Precious, and she kept doing this motion and pointing at her son and pulling at her pinky, and I had Sutin and Hamilton translate for me because I didn't know what she was trying to communicate. And she wanted me to lock pinkies with him and befriend him. So that was really sweet. He was a fun little guy. Again, the ethnography walks, we played tag and soccer with them and just really had a great time interacting with them. And we don't speak the same language, but a smile goes a long way and it's fun to run around, so we had a great time. A lot of the kids were really interested about our hair. A lot of them have not seen a white person before, so they had a lot of fun braiding my hair, just feeling it. If you heard Azungu or Nzungu, that means white person or white people. So when you hear that, you know they saw us. They are taught English in their schools, so some kids wanted to practice their English with us. And a conversation that my classmate Willa had with a girl, she asked, are there black people in America? And she said, yeah, there are black people in America. And she said, do they speak Chichewa? And she said, well, yeah, maybe some. But it's just really fascinating to have those kinds of conversations. And then I wanted to point out the African philosophy that they have is called Ubuntu. The premise is, I am because we are. Basically attributing that you are the person you are because of your community. They have a really large interconnectedness. There's the phrase, it takes a village. And it truly does take a village to raise a child, especially when they have a disability, and to take care of each other in those hard seasons. So we really saw this firsthand, and I think American culture can really miss this sometimes. So it was really beautiful to see such a strong philosophy in these villages. And of course, we got to see a lot of beautiful scenery. We hiked Zomba Plateau. We went on some game drives, saw elephants, zebras, giraffes, wild dogs, you name it. Saw Williams Falls, watched the sunrise over Lake Malawi, which was just beautiful to see God's creation in that way. So thank you for listening. I'm so excited that you all were interested to hear about this. I encourage you, keep praying for your mission workers and keep encouraging people to do mission work. I was hesitant to do this for a while, but there were some key people that really pushed me to do it, and I'm really glad that I had this experience and was able to have a lot of novelty and effect on these people, and show that we love the same God and we care for you because of that. So thank you for supporting me, for doing this, and for listening to me today.
Is there a spiritual hunger there for these people, or were many of them not really interested in
these people belonged to their congregations in their villages. There was a huge spiritual aspect. They had really vibrant worship. We were greeted with singing one morning, and there's a lot of movement in their worship, and it was really beautiful. It was interesting to see faith in a different culture, worshiping the same God, but in just such a different way. So yeah, they have a very strong faith. Yeah.
You talked about the report. Was there like a summary of some of the things you saw as priority needs and things to address?
Yeah, everyone was very, very passionate about the need for a special needs school, which there's not really a lot of resources to build an entire school and have those teachers and the building and all the things that is required there. One of the ideas that we were brainstorming was having a traveling teacher, someone who is trained in special needs education, and then visits small groups or children around the village to educate them. So we're really hoping that's something that can happen in place of making an entire school. Yeah.
I had two questions. The first one was, did you feel safe there?
Most of the time, yeah. Kingsley and Hamilton and Sutton were kind of like our bodyguards sometimes. In the markets, I mean, there's thieves and it happens. There's barbed wire around the houses, there's guard dogs, and you see all of those things and you're like, whoa, what's the danger here? But people are really, really nice. I remember in the market, I had my bag carrying me on the front, and I had my arms over it, and Sutton said, put your arms down. She's like, you look very suspicious. And so I said, okay. But overall, they understand the nonverbal communication, so having them with us put us very at ease.
Yeah. And the other question was, do they have access to good, clean water?
Yeah, so in each village, we saw about 2 boreholes in each one with a pump on the side. I don't know about the cleanliness of it, but that was always accessible to them. We used water from there as well to wash hands and stuff. We drank bottled water throughout the trip just for our safety, but in the villages, yeah, they do have boreholes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say you're an excellent speaker, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
We'll wrap up there, just because getting people into second service. But Claire's going to be sticking around, and you can ask any questions that you have in the back. Can we give Claire one more round of applause? Thank you very much, Claire. Thank you very much. Claire will be around if you have any questions of her. This is on YouTube. I didn't see it on Facebook. I'll have to look into that, but it is on our YouTube channel if you want to watch it again.